The screen fades in slowly, the quiet rustle of wind over the Heartland Ranch. Horses run across the golden field, and Amy stands alone, staring into the horizon, voice dash over calm but emotional. Sometimes healing feels like riding against the wind. You don't know where it's taking you, but you hold on anyway. And this time, Heartland is about to take us somewhere we've never been before. Cut to flashes of the new trailer, Amy's determined face, Lou's worried glance, Jack's hand tightening on his hat. A new stranger arriving at the ranch voiceover continues in Season 19. Episode 2, old wounds reopen, new faces arrive, and the meaning of home changes forever. This is the next chapter of Heartland. The trailer begins with a quiet sunrise over the Heartland Ranch. The light spills over the stables, touching every corner of the land that's seen both joy and heartbreak. We hear Amy's soft voice say, "Some mornings feel heavier than others." And instantly, we know this episode is going to dig deep into her emotions. It's not just another day at Heartland. It's the beginning of a storm she doesn't see coming. The camera lingers on Amy as she brushes her horse, Spartan. Her movements are slow, thoughtful, almost distant, as if she's trying to find peace through the rhythm of each stroke. It's a scene that quietly tells us she's still learning to live with the past, still finding her way back to herself after everything she's lost. The wind catches her hair. The barn doors creak open, and in that silence, we can almost feel the weight of memories pressing on her heart. Then we see Lou, standing by the porch, her phone in hand, staring at a message she doesn't want to read. The trailer doesn't show what's written, but the look in her eyes says, "Enough," a mix of fear, surprise, and decision. Could it be about her work? Or something closer to home? The mystery sets up the emotional tension right from the start. Lou has always been the practical one, the fixer, but this time, it seems like she's facing something she can't control. Meanwhile, Jack appears at the barn door, watching both Amy and Lou from a distance. His face carries that familiar mix of pride and worry. He's the heart of Heartland, the anchor holding everyone together. But the trailer gives us a brief shot of him sitting alone later, hat in hand, looking out over the fields. For a moment, he looks smaller, older. As if the years of carrying this family are finally starting to show, the music swells softly, a mix of strings and piano, the kind that makes your chest feel heavy. It builds a mood of quiet tension, like the moments before rain starts to fall. Every shot feels meaningful. The horse is restless in the pen. The clouds gathering above the ranch, the sound of thunder far away. There's a sense that something big is coming. Something that will test the family in a way they haven't faced before. The trailer ends this section with Amy whispering, "Sometimes even home feels unfamiliar." The line hits hard, a simple sentence that carries so much emotion. It tells us that episode 2 won't just be about what happens next, but about how each character is learning to live with change. Voiceover, slow and steady. Heartland has always been about family, love, and finding strength in the hardest moments. But in this new chapter, those same bonds will be tested. And when the calm breaks, nothing at Heartland will ever feel the same again. The screen fades to a pale morning light spilling across the Heartland Ranch. The wind carries the soft hum of the past voices, laughter, and the echo of moments that once filled the house with warmth. Before we dive into the chaos of what's coming, the trailer reminds us of where everything began. It's not just a recap, it's a reflection. A mirror held up to the people they've become. Amy's journey has never been an easy one. In the last episode, we saw her trying to hold on to the light that Ty left behind. His memory, his spirit, his quiet strength. But in episode 1, there was a moment where that strength seemed to falter. She stood in the old training ring, her eyes fixed on the horizon, whispering something to Spartan. It wasn't scripted or dramatic. It was raw, real, human. It's the kind of moment Heartland does best. Emotion without noise. The trailer uses that same quiet energy to remind us that Amy's battle isn't against anyone else. It's within herself. Then there's Lou. Her world has always been a balancing act, running the family, leading the community, and protecting everyone from falling apart. But episode 1 hinted that the balance is slipping. We saw her in her office, surrounded by papers and deadlines, but her eyes kept drifting to a framed picture of the ranch. There's a pull in her, the kind that says, maybe ambition and peace don't live in the same place. The trailer picks up that thread beautifully, showing her hesitation, her pauses, her second-guessing. It's a softer, more vulnerable Lou, one that fans haven't seen in a while. And then there's Jack, the old soul of Heartland. In episode 1, his scenes carried a weight that only time can bring. The shot of him in the barn, staring at an old photograph, told a story without words. He's seen the family through storms and seasons, through births, losses, and rebuilds. But this time, something in his eyes said, he's not just looking back, he's preparing for something ahead. The trailer doesn't tell us what, but the tone says enough. This storm isn't just Amy's to face. It belongs to all of them. The recap portion of the trailer feels like a letter written to the audience, a reminder that Heartland isn't just about horses or land. It's about people holding on to hope when everything feels fragile. Every flashback, every quiet scene from episode 1 connects to the emotional threads that episode 2 will pull even tighter. The camera moves slowly, carefully, letting us breathe with the characters, because at Heartland, even silence tells a story. Voiceover gentle but gripping. The past doesn't fade at Heartland. It lingers in every corner of the barn, every creak of the floor, every sunrise over the fields. But this time, those old memories might hold the answers they've all been searching for. The screen darkens. Amy's voice echoes faintly, sometimes to move forward. You have to turn back. The wind picks up. The music fades into the sound of a heartbeat. Something's coming. The trailer opens with silence. Not the kind that feels empty, but the kind that feels heavy. You can almost hear the heartbeat of the ranch beneath it. Then, a slow pan across the foothills of Alberta, the golden light spilling over fences, pastures, and old barns. It's familiar, yet different. There's something in the air, a tension that sits quietly between every frame, hinting that this episode isn't just about daily life at Heartland. It's about the secrets that live in the quiet. The first image we see is Amy, standing in the round pen, her hand resting on the neck of a new horse, one that doesn't trust easily. The way the trailer lingers on that moment feels intentional. The horse isn't just another animal. It's a mirror of Amy's own struggle to open up again. Her face is calm, but her eyes say everything. She's trying to heal something that keeps breaking. The lighting around her is softer than usual, like the world itself is holding its breath for her. Cut to Lou. She's standing on the porch, her phone ringing in her hand. She doesn't answer. The camera zooms slowly toward her, capturing the smallest flicker of worry in her expression. Then, a man's voice plays faintly over the trailer. You can't fix everything, Lou. It's unclear who says it. Maybe Mitch, maybe someone new, but it lands like a warning. Lou lowers her head slightly, as if she knows it's true. Then, a quick flash. The dinner table scene. Jack, Amy, Lou, and Katie sitting together, but something's off. The air feels tense. No one's smiling. The sound drops, and you can hear only the clinking of forks and the uneasy breathing between words left unsaid. Then, Lou suddenly looks up and says, "We can't keep pretending everything's fine." Silence follows. Jack's expression turns from surprise to quiet sadness. The trailer cuts to black, leaving the line hanging in the air like thunder before the storm. Next comes a sequence of fast cuts, a broken fence, a horse running free, Lisa turning away from someone, and a stranger stepping out of a truck near the barn. The voiceover returns. Sometimes strangers bring the answers we've been avoiding. This new character, rugged, quiet, with eyes that seem to know too much, appears for only a few seconds. But it's enough to spark curiosity. Who is he? Why now? The trailer gives nothing away but leaves just enough for fans to start guessing. The visuals become darker, storm clouds rolling over the mountains. The background music shifts, a slow piano turning into a pulse of drums and strings. It feels like Heartland is stepping into new emotional territory. This isn't just about recovery anymore. It's about confrontation with the past, with truth, change. The trailer ends its breakdown sequence with Amy standing in the rain, holding the reins of the frightened horse. She looks up at the sky and whispers, "We'll find a way." "We always do." The shot freezes for a moment, her soaked hair, trembling hand. Eyes filled with both pain and hope, and then the Heartland logo fades in. Voiceover, steady and emotional, every frame of this trailer isn't just showing what's next, it's showing who they've become. And sometimes what's left unsaid between them speaks the loudest. The trailer doesn't shout the story, it whispers it through faces, gestures, and pauses. Every character carries a silence that feels louder than words. And that's what makes this glimpse into episode 2 so powerful. The beauty of Heartland has always been its people, imperfect, loyal, bruised by life, but still standing. And in this new chapter, their strength doesn't come from what they say, but from what they hold inside. The camera returns to Amy alone in the paddock, brushing down her new horse. There's no dialogue, only the sound of breathing, of skin against fur, of the world slowing down. It's a quiet, healing kind of scene, but beneath it, there's tension. Amy's body language tells a story she's not ready to speak yet, her shoulders tight, her eyes watching the horizon. The trailer captures that unspoken ache beautifully. She's the heart of Heartland, but even the strongest hearts need time to mend. In this moment, we see her balancing on that thin line between grief and growth. Then comes Lou, sharp, focused but visibly unraveling behind the perfect mask. In one frame, she's in her office, her hands gripping the edge of her desk, her phone lighting up with messages she refuses to read. In the next, she's walking across the ranch yard in the rain. Her shoes muddy, her face turned upward like she's trying to let the storm wash away her confusion. Lou has always been the fixer, the one who doesn't allow herself to fall apart. But the trailer shows tiny cracks, a deep breath, a trembling lip, a look of exhaustion. This episode might finally force her to admit she can't control everything. And then Jack, the soul of the family. The man whose silence carries more weight than any speech. His trailer shots are brief, but unforgettable. Jack standing in the barn doorway as thunder rolls in the distance, his hand resting on an old saddle. There's a shot where he looks up at the photograph of Marion, his daughter, and the light catches his face just right, half in shadow, half in glow. It's a visual metaphor for him, caught between memory and duty, between what he's lost and what he still has to protect. You can feel the years of wisdom in his expression, but also the pain of knowing that even he can't shield the family from everything. The trailer gives us fleeting glimpses of others too. Lisa, ever the quiet anchor, her voice trembling slightly as she tells Jack, "You can't hold them forever." Katie standing by the stables, watching Amy with curiosity and confusion, trying to understand what strength looks like in real life. These moments aren't filler, they're threads, weaving emotion through every shot. Then there's the stranger, that new face at the ranch. No words, just a close-up of his eyes meeting Amy's for a brief second before the scene cuts away. It's not romance, it's recognition. The look of two people who've both lost something and are trying to remember how to move forward, voice dash over calm. Reflective. Heartland has never been about running from pain. It's about learning to live with it. And in episode 2, every character is doing exactly that. Quietly, bravely, and beautifully. As the section closes, the trailer fades back to Amy walking through the barn at dusk. Lantern in hand, her footsteps echoing softly. For a second, she pauses, turns toward the camera, her eyes filled with uncertainty, and then walks away. No music, no words, just the sound of her boots on the wooden floor. That's Heartland, the kind of silence that says everything. Every season of Heartland brings something new, a challenge, a secret, or a face that changes everything. But this time, the energy feels different. Episode 2 doesn't introduce new characters just for the sake of change. It brings them in like pieces of a puzzle, pieces that might not fit easily, but once they do, the whole picture shifts. The trailer teases a new man stepping out of a dusty pickup truck. The camera doesn't reveal much, just boots hitting the ground, the crunch of gravel, and a shadow stretching across the barn doors. Then we see Amy's face as she turns toward him. Her eyes narrow slightly, not with fear, but curiosity. The wind blows through the open field, and for a moment, time feels suspended. No words are spoken. The only sound is the faint creak of the barn door swinging open. It's a perfect introduction. Quiet, powerful, and full of questions. Who is he? A ranch hand? A family friend? Or someone from the past returning to settle old scores? The trailer gives nothing away, but the mood says enough. The way Jack glances at him later, guarded, uncertain, tells us that this newcomer might carry a story that ties into the family's history. Maybe he's connected to Ty. Maybe he knows something the rest don't. The tension is there. It's hidden under the calm surface like roots beneath dry soil. But the new face isn't the only twist. The trailer flashes a brief scene of Lou in a heated phone call, her voice trembling. We only hear fragments. You can't just show up like this. Not now. The screen cuts before we hear the reply. The implication is strong. Someone from her past is stepping back into her present, shaking the walls she's built so carefully. Lou's always been the planner, the protector. But episode 2 looks ready to strip that armor away. There's also a quiet, emotional moment between Lisa and Jack, one that fans might overlook at first glance. Lisa reaches out, gently touching his arm, saying, "You've carried this family long enough. Let them walk beside you for once." It's short, but it feels like a turning point. For years, Jack has been the foundation of Heartland. But even the strongest foundations crack when they bear too much weight. Maybe this episode will finally let Jack rest. Even if just for a while, the trailer cuts again, horses running wild across an open field. The sky darkens, thunder rolls in the distance. We see Amy chasing after them, her voice echoing faintly. They won't come back if they're scared. It's clearly symbolic, a moment that reflects not just her work with the horses, but her relationship with the people around her. Some things or people can't be forced to return. They have to choose it, and then there's that final flicker, a photo falling from the shelf, hitting the floor. The camera zooms in just long enough for us to see a corner of Ty's face before the screen fades to black. A heartbeat sound follows. Quick, soft, gone. Fans will catch it, that subtle reminder that his memory still beats. Quietly within every frame of this story, voiceover slow, gripping, every stranger brings a story. Every secret leaves a shadow. And in episode 2, the past may not be done with Heartland yet. Screen stays black for a moment before the faint sound of a door creaking open plays again. The same one from the stranger's entrance earlier. It's a perfect loop. A whisper that the story isn't finished. Not even close. Every frame of this trailer carries a heartbeat, soft, steady, and full of feeling. It's not just about what happens next. It's about how it feels. Heartland has always been a story stitched together by emotion, quiet courage, unspoken love, and the way family bends but never breaks. In episode 2, that heartbeat grows louder, pulsing through every line, every glance, every storm that passes over the ranch. The emotional tone here is deeper, more reflective, almost haunting. The music doesn't rise in triumph. It hums low like the sound of distant thunder. It tells us this isn't a story of victory. It's one of endurance. Amy's eyes say it best. She's tired, but she's still standing. The way she touches the new horse's mane, the way she breathes before speaking, it's not performance, it's survival. Her strength isn't loud. It's the quiet kind that holds the world together when it starts to fall apart. Lou's arc, too, bleeds with vulnerability. She's built a life out of control and structure. But the trailer paints her differently this time. Softer, uncertain, almost afraid to admit how much she's been pretending. The moment she looks out the window of her office as rain streaks the glass, the lighting changes cold at first, then warm as she turns back toward a photo of her family. It's a small cinematic trick, but it speaks volumes. Heartland has always known how to tell stories not just through words, but through light and shadow. And then there's Jack, the bridge between generations, the keeper of every lesson Heartland has ever taught. The camera often frames him alone, surrounded by space, the barn behind him, the open sky before him. It's not loneliness. It's legacy. His silence carries the ache of time, the truth that nothing lasts forever, but love leaves marks that never fade. When he says quietly, "You don't fix a family, you hold it together," feels like the thesis of the whole season. What makes episode 2 feel so powerful isn't the drama, it's the stillness. The pauses between words, the sighs between scenes, the way everyone looks at one another as if they're afraid to speak first. That's the emotional language of Heartland, restraint that roars louder than shouting ever could. There's also a running theme of renewal, the ranch being mended, fences repaired, a new horse being trained, the rain returning after weeks of dust. Everything is in quiet motion toward healing, even when the characters don't see it yet. The land itself mirrors their lives broken in places, but still capable of growing again. The tone of the trailer reminds fans that this isn't a story of heroes and villains. It's a story of people who fall, rise, and learn to live with the pieces that remain. It's about forgiveness not of others, but of oneself. And perhaps most beautifully, it's about home, not as a place, but as the feeling you keep returning to, no matter how far you've gone. Voiceover soft. Resonant Heartland has never been about happy endings. It's about real ones where love isn't perfect, but it's enough. And in episode 2, the heart of the ranch beats stronger than ever. Even through the rain, as the music fades, we see Amy standing under a silver sky, her hair blowing in the wind. She closes her eyes and whispers, "This place. It always finds a way to heal you." Camera slowly pulls back wide, distant, showing the ranch glowing against the storm clouds. Because that's what Heartland is. Not a story about escaping the storm, but learning how to live inside it. The trailer's final moments unfold like a memory. The sky over Heartland glows gold again, the storm finally passing. The wind settles, the horses calm, and the fields breathe. But the peace isn't simple. It's the kind that comes after struggle, the kind that feels earned. As the screen fades between shots of Amy, Lou, and Jack, one truth becomes clear. Episode 2 isn't just another chapter. It's the emotional heartbeat of the entire new season. We see Amy walking through the paddock at dusk, lantern light flickering across her face. She stops to look at Spartan, who nudges her shoulder gently, like he's reminding her she's not alone. There's no dialogue, only the creak of the gate closing behind her. That sounds small, but familiar, carries more comfort than words ever could. It's a quiet reminder that no matter how much changes, some things remain. Then the trailer shifts to Lou, standing outside the house, her phone in hand. She hesitates, then finally hits call. The voice on the other end isn't heard, but the look on her face, half fear, half relief, tells us enough. Maybe she's finally reaching out to make peace. Maybe she's ready to let go. The camera lingers on her expression just long enough to let the emotion settle before cutting to black. Jack's closing scene might be the most powerful of all. He's out by the barn, leaning on the old fence, watching the sunset. The light catches his weathered face, and for a moment he looks content, tired, but proud. His voice plays softly over the final montage. This ranch has seen storms before, but somehow the sun always finds its way back. Those words hang in the air as the screen fades into wide shots of the ranch horses running free. The grass bending under the wind, the mountains stretching endlessly behind them. The tone feels like closure, but not the end. There's a sense of something just beginning, like the calm breath before a new wave of change. Then, text fades in over the landscape. Heartland Season 19, Episode 2 premieres. Insert release date. On CBC and CBC Gem, the familiar theme music returns, slow, nostalgic, almost like a heartbeat. Voiceover, gentle, steady. Cinematic, every sunrise at Heartland brings another chance to start again, to forgive, to rebuild, to remember what really matters. Episode 2 isn't just a story, it's a reminder that even in the hardest seasons, there's always light waiting on the other side. The camera slowly zooms out from the ranch until it becomes a small speck under the Alberta sky, wide, endless, and full of promise. The music fades into silence, and for a heartbeat, the screen stays black. Then, a soft whisper, Amy's voice echoes one last time. We'll be okay. We always are. The Heartland logo appears one final time, glowing faintly against the dark. Voiceover final closing line. Because at Heartland, every ending is just a new beginning.